The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Café. This is the United Podcast Network.
And welcome to the Writer's Block Podcast. I'm Mandra Bisgrenay, and I believe everyone has a story to tell. What's yours?
Deborah Monk, empowering you to find your creative voice.
And Shelly Devlin, helping you find your why.
And welcome to the Writer's Block Podcast. On today's show, we're going to be talking about how to strengthen your writing voice by pulling from your own life experiences. We're going to share excerpts of our own writing where we've used life experiences to enhance the honesty of the writing and to help develop characters that feel more real. So you're going to get to hear a little bit of Shelly's, Debbie's, and my own writing and how we used what's happened in our past to make our writing better. Shell, are you going to do that for us?
I am. I actually just found one. I just had this light
Really?
bulb, like a light bulb that I read this weekend.
That's amazing
right?
because 2 seconds ago you didn't have one.
I know. I had
I'm so glad you're prepared.
I had some that I can't find anymore, so I'm not sure we edited them out. But when we talked about elevator speeches before, in part of my elevator speech, it says everyone has a story that can make your hair curl.
Oh, yes.
Right?
So wait. Let's
Do
back up. Your life experience is
being
a hairdresser for
36 years or something.
Yes.
Good God, I don't know how that happened. I started when I was 3, in case anyone's doing the math.
So what people want to listen for is how, when Shelly writes, you maybe pull in those hairdresser words. Weaves in.
And she
in.
braids
Yes.
in.
I
How
was
she
braiding in
highlights
wisdom.
the story.
Yes.
We get it.
She highlights the story.
She's a hairdresser.
Okay.
But there's an old, little tale that says, I'm a beautician, not a magician. And that is been around forever. But all my clients say when they sit in the chair, do your magic. So I have a lot of magic references, like this client that came in who decided to give her husband a haircut, but forgot to put the clipper guard on, and he doesn't go bald. Yep. Jonathan, you understand? One dark hair, racing stripe up the back. So she races him to the salon and is like, you need to fix this.
It's a hair emergency.
And in the book I write, clients always think I have a magic wand mixed in with my combs and brushes.
Right, that's perfect. It's setting, it's visual, it's great.
I've said bag of tricks before, which again was a little cliche, but I decided to keep it because it works. It works. So,
but I like that, a magic wand in with the combs and brushes.
Because we can all see that jar that they have.
Yeah, the Barbicide jar.
The Barbicide jar.
Yeah. There's a magic wand in there too.
Yes.
It's waterproof.
And it's sterilized.
You think some of your excerpts got edited that had
I think when we read some of the excerpts before about the, everyone has a story that'll make your hair curl.
Yeah.
There was something about braiding in wisdom. I think it's on an introduction piece that is somewhere lost in my computer. I mean, it's there. I just need to find it. So I think it was part of an introduction piece that we were building for the introduction to the book.
I think that we can I think we should go through the book and put that through.
Yeah.
Weave it through.
Braid it in.
the references to hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because those were, I think,
So
those
that
were
could
good.
be another editing piece. Perfect, Deb. Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks for loading my
Specifically
plate.
for you, because you're not going to do the punctuation, so you might as well do
That's true. You got to do
that.
something.
All right, fine.
Yeah.
I'll get my purple pen
Yeah.
and start adding in hair references.
Yeah. Read the elevator pitch one more time.
The elevator pitch,
Yeah.
everyone has a story that can make your hair curl,
Love it.
right?
Yeah.
I do love that. It's somewhere. I'll find it.
Because we would say everyone has a story to tell, but wouldn't follow it up with.
Right. And that wouldn't work for your story, even though you have a hair. Your book is about a story that would make your hair curl, but it wouldn't be appropriate. No.
And it wouldn't be my voice, and that's the crux of it is that that's very Shelly. And if someone gave us that without your name on top of it, we would know, oh, that's Shelly's writing.
Now I know which chapter that's in. See, just come to mind.
Great.
Well, everyone has a story that'll make your hair curl.
Yeah.
So it's in a chapter that I need to set a day to edit, where there is no makeup involved and things like that. So that is in that chapter for sure.
Good, because we don't want to lose
That's why I couldn't
that.
find it, because I wasn't going to read that chapter.
All right, we're going to me?
We're going to you. What do you got?
I have an excerpt from the cancer chapter in my book where I'm talking about me going through cancer and chemo but specifically about how the relationship with my body, because nothing gets you kind of into your body like a serious illness. And as I was doing that, I was thinking, oh, another time that I was very aware of my body was when I was dancing a lot. And so I wove some of that in. So that's the piece that I'm about to read. A body betrayed. In all my 26 years, my body had never let me down. Through hours of dance rehearsals, countless performances, some with injuries, my body performed. Once, I sprained my ankle a few days before a show. Bruised and swollen, a trainer taped it up and I shoved it into my point shoe and told my partner to hold me up. So why had it failed me now? I wanted to break up with my body for getting the shit inside me, end the relationship for good, and leave it sobbing by the phone, hoping I'd changed my mind. We'd worked so well together for years, interpreting beautiful music, learning moving choreography, connecting with audiences. My body was supposed to be my instrument. Now it was broken, and I was pissed.
That is so
That's
good.
good stuff right there. Good stuff.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's really,
that's like
really
a whole
good.
chunk that you weren't actually ever going to put in the book right from the beginning. Remember?
That's true.
Remember?
Yes.
I don't remember.
There was nothing about her
There was
in the beginning.
nothing
She gave
about-
us one line about going for a checkup,
Right.
and we were like, "Whoa,
And you
whoa,
two said,
you need to
have to
back
tell
that
us
up."
more.
Right.
Yeah.
But
So I
look
had to
how
go
good
back.
that is.
Mhm.
And I wasn't thinking, like, it's not about my dance. None of the rest of the book's about my dancing or,
But it
you know,
feels
that's
but
your
it was,
life.
it was part of my life. And this was a good way to kind of put it in there a little bit. So it helps you get to know me better,
Well-
helps you get to know the character me better.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said at the very beginning, there's
Mhm.
nothing like disease that gets you into your body. I'm sure every person who has been diagnosed with a serious disease would agree with you.
Right.
But that doesn't mean they know how to say it so that it's universally understood. Where you
Right.
used your life experience to portray the feeling that every sick person has.
So I use the specific, which is something that you've talked about before. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very good.
Thank you. Deb.
Well, when we gave ourselves this assignment, of course, I thought I should go to dancing because I think of everything sort of around dancing. And as we were sitting here talking, I thought the words I use most to describe the way I want to write are lyrical and rhythmic.
Mhm.
Those are both such dance terms.
Mhm.
But as I was going through, and clearly I could, since I wrote a memoir, which involved a huge part of my time as a ballroom dancer, but what I realized is I didn't want to do that because I thought I've done these seeds of wisdom where I've actually literally put my being, my spiritual, soulful being into a book. So that's what I brought instead.
Okay. Well, let's read it. Which
Let's
one do
hear
you
it.
have with us?
I brought the very first one I wrote, Wings
Okay.
in a Tail.
I love this one.
Okay. When I was, actually, pardon me, I'll read it. I was going to say, should Mandra read it? Because she reads better, but I'll try. If anything I could read well, this should be it. When I was little, I had fairy wings and a mermaid tail. Sometimes when I tried to run really fast, I would trip over my tail. So one day I asked Mama, can you cut off my tail? If I cut off your tail, she said, you won't be able to dive under the bubbles in your bath. You won't be able to find the treasure chest where you keep your dreams. That's okay, Mama, I said, because running really fast with my friends is one of my dreams. Part of growing up is fitting in, Mama said, but you have to be careful not to give away too much of your magic. If you cut off my tail, can it grow back? I asked. It will if you remember you had it. So Mama got her scissors and cut off my tail. She saved a tiny piece and carefully wrapped it in tissue paper. Don't forget, she whispered, you are a brave mermaid who can dive deep to find life's treasures. I won't forget, Mama, I promised. A couple of years later in ballet class, I noticed that my friends could turn more times because they didn't have wings slowing them down. Mama, can you cut off my wings? You already cut off your tail, she said. Are you sure you want to cut off your wings too? Well, you said they'll grow back whenever I want. I just have to remember I have them. Yes, I did, darling, but it's so easy to forget. I won't forget, I promised as she cut off my wings. Then I got very busy growing up, fitting in and doing all the things everyone expected. I was happy, but I was also forgetting. One day after work, I called home. I got a promotion, I told Mama. Congratulations, she said. We were both quiet for a moment. How come you're not happy, she asked. Because while my boss was giving me the promotion, he said I have to work harder. I sighed. I'm already working so hard. What are you going to do, Mama asked. Well, I guess I'll have to work harder. You could look in your heart, she whispered. That's your answer to everything, I grumbled. But have you tried it, she asked. I've been too busy working, getting ahead, and doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. Do you remember when you believed you were a mermaid who had a hidden treasure chest of dreams, she asked. Mama, I live in a big city. There's no place to dive to find any hidden treasure. Remember when you had wings that let you fly above words that people might say to you that weren't very nice? What good are wings, I asked, if everyone I love is anchored to the ground? The next morning I woke up and sat on the edge of my bed. I didn't want to get dressed in my itchy business suit, and I had no desire to go to work where they didn't think I was good enough. Look in your heart, Mama's voice whispered in my head. I took a deep breath and put a hand over my heart. I felt something I'd never noticed before, a little bump, a seam, the edge of a pocket. Inside my heart pocket, I found 2 pieces of tissue paper. I carefully unwrapped one and found a piece of a beautiful wing. I closed my eyes and remembered. When I opened them, the piece had disappeared from my hand. I looked in the mirror. My wings were back, bigger than before. For a moment, I was embarrassed. What would people at work say if I showed up with wings? I unwrapped the second tissue paper from my heart pocket and found a tiny piece of my mermaid tail. I closed my eyes. Again, I remembered. When I opened my eyes, I saw my tail, graceful and fluid, floating behind me. I loved having my wings and tail back, but I was scared. Since the pieces had disappeared, I had nothing left to remind me. I was afraid if I gave my wings and my tail up again, I might never get them back. Taking the tip of one wing, I draped it over my shoulder like a glamorous shawl. Then I bustled my tail like a hip scarf and tied it around my waist. Now I have wings to fly above everything that is not suited for my soul, and a mermaid tail because I want to swim in the deep end of life. I learned that part of growing up is reclaiming my wings and my tail.
Oh, Deb, you did it without crying. I thought it was going to happen. I thought the tear was coming.
Nope. So there's an example of that. That may not be my external life, but
Right.
there's an example of literally putting my internal life on the page.
Right. And anyone who knows you would recognize the references to mermaids, to
Yes.
treasure
Fairies.
chests.
You did say
fairies,
ballet class.
Magic.
I did.
You
There is
did.
ballet.
I noticed that
ballet
too.
in there. There's
Yeah.
magic.
There's magic. And there is that rhythmic flow to the writing, which I think is a big part of how you write.
It's important. I try to write. It's important to me.
Right.
So Wings and a Tail
Yep.
is all said and done and available on your website?
Well, I'm redoing my website, so they will be.
Yay.
I think I have 7 handmade books now that will be available on a new website that I'm working on right now. They are available at about 6 or 7 little stores in New Hampshire and in Massachusetts. But that's kind of a soft launch. I made so many. I put them in these various stores to see how they would sell. They seem to be doing fairly well, and beyond that, they're important to me.
Right.
And so,
That's what will make the success, though, Deb, because you feel this book,
I do.
right? And I know that sounds like foo-foo, la-di-da. Jonathan's probably rolling his eyes right now, but you believe in
Boy,
this.
do I have a bad rap.
Yes.
You did. Don't even tell me. There was a little
What if
eye
I'm
roll.
over
There was a
here-
slight eye roll.
What if I'm over here
Shedding
just
a
trying
tear?
to keep myself collected?
Oh.
Do you ever think of that?
I-
No,
No,
because you only
we
think of
didn't.
yourself.
So that's an example of where, see, for Shelly and I, we're in a memoir situation, I think it's easier to pull on those experiences,
Right,
right?
'cause it's your life.
Because you're talking.
life.
Right. So, but
Right.
you've written fiction,
Right.
and does it still hold true? Like,
Not a lot of that book was fiction. Just saying.
true.
Not a lot of all of Deb's books are fiction.
But is that what happens? Like, does sort of your past experiences end up in your book, whether it's memoir or not? Because that's what you know.
I think that what we're saying here is multi-layered, meaning that when we say life experiences, we don't just mean our careers, which for all of
Right.
us, our careers have been more important than just a job. But it also is up to you. You know, we have 3 different examples here where I put it into a little story that I wrote that for me is my internal life put on the page. You both went to the memoir that you're working on and you put your external life in the page. And now we're talking about the fiction where I used, I kind of changed the names but used a lot of the feelings that I've had in life. Nobody knows which of those feelings in those books are me. Or, you know, people who know me really well can say, well, I know.
Jonathan knows.
Yeah. Yeah. My first novel, he's a
All of them. Excuse me, I had something in my throat. Cough there for a second.
At the time, Jonathan was a gymnastic coach and a part-time DJ. My character's name is Michael, which happens to be Jonathan's middle name.
Oh,
and
damn.
he was a
That's
math.
Oh my God.
He was a math teacher and a DJ on the side.
Which, by the way, complete stretch.
Yes, because he's
Not
terrible
big-
at math.
Not big on the math.
Not big
Yeah.
on the math.
Oh,
But
love it.
What is important, and nobody else, that doesn't matter at all. Meaning, but so why did I choose to do that? Because I knew that, I was trying to write that relationship, and I wanted to use some of the feelings that we have had in our relationship. I mean, so not us, but, I could tie into,
Mm-hmm.
I could make it more real. I couldn't write what it's like to be married to an older accountant. I wouldn't know how to write that because I've never been married, to an older accountant.
You've never been married to an older accountant.
No. I mean,
Well, we're human. We're not machines.
right. So the point here that we're trying to teach is that life experience can mean so many things. Pull in from your career, pull in from your emotions,
Right.
pull in from how you feel inside, and how do you, do people, do I want people to really think that I literally, if I close, those pictures that you look at that are just all static?
Yeah.
And people
Oh,
say,
yeah, yeah.
see the sailboat,
Yeah,
see this.
yeah.
I can never see those.
I can't
No.
see him either.
But when I look in a mirror, if I close my eyes just right, I can see iridescent wings. And I can
Attached
feel,
to you,
Yes.
absolutely. And
I
you have a
can-
tail too, I know.
Oh,
I
and it's
know.
very swishy. Like a
Yes.
lot of the
Yeah.
Very
clothes.
swishy.
Like I only wear swishy clothes.
Yeah.
And that is sort of representing,
Oh, yes.
right? I don't like
Right.
tight fitted.
No, you like clothes that move.
I
like
like
your pants are
flowy-
always wide and kind of flow.
Yes, and a lot of my
yeah,
students
true.
will complain and say, "Can you wear some things closed so we can see your feet?" And I'll say, "No, I'll pull my pants up on my skirt up or whatever it is so they can see my feet. But no, I'm not going to wear what you want me to wear where I feel stifled. I'm going to wear what feels right to me."
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, granted, this is a show that's going out in the air. Do I tell people that I think I'm really a mermaid and really a fairy?
Only your closest friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't tell everybody
me.
that.
Something else stuck in my throat.
But I found a way because what's important to me was the message of remembering what you believed about the magic and the potential that you had when you were a child. That's an important message to me.
Right.
How do I say that?
Well, that's an important message for everybody
Exa-
because
I
so
think-
many people
Right, but a
forget.
lot of people,
Yes.
you would say it in a different way. If you were to write that, or if I was
Yes.
to write that, it wouldn't
Yes.
be a mermaid and with a tail and wings.
And the other thing is, I don't think that either.
That's
of you,
how we know it's Deb's voice.
And,
I
and
might
I
have
don't-
wings and a magic wand.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And that's why we get along. But I don't think that would be a message that would be important for either of you. So I don't think you'd want to. Meaning, I know you think it's an important message, but that isn't something that
It's
you
not
would be
important enough
called
that
to write.
I would not be called to write that.
Yes.
Right.
And so I think this show is important to show all the different types of experience that we're talking about when we say draw.
Right, it's not
on
a
everything you
literal
have.
event.
A
It's-
career,
right.
or a specific detail, or
Right.
an alcoholic father, or whatever.
And for me, it was a relationship with my body. And people have, some people don't even think about that. They don't even think about having
A
their body
physical
separate
body.
from them. I think people who use their body like dancers and
Yes.
whatnot, and a lot of females anyway, just think of their body as separate. And when you're sick, you kind of have to get right in there.
Because
right?
that's
You
where
know?
where the dis-ease is.
Correct.
Yeah. And that would be hard for, another person. Well, it might be harder for another person. How would they say it? And so we're giving you examples of ways you could figure out how you can use your own knowledge to say whatever it is you're trying to say.
And I think when you talk about magic, Shelly, in a lot of your book, magic, yes, from the hair beautician sense,
Right.
but also magic the way you've touched the lives of
Right.
some of those young children, some of those older
Yeah.
women that have come with you for
home.
years, right? And sort of that magic that you bring.
The reality is, and I don't know if she wants us to ask this question, so you can just ignore me. But I think you do think you have a touch of magic to you.
Oh, I totally believe I have a touch of
Yes,
magic.
so she's not
I
kidding
wish
when
that
she
I could
says-
know how to dial it in more because when it happens, it still surprises me. When I make those connections to people or I, get invitations to, someone's baby's christening or,
And you're like,
or
why are
I'm
they
asked to
asking me?
go, be a part of the prom pictures for these girls, I'm amazed by it sometimes. So I know
Well,
it's there,
you're
just
still
wish I could
surprised.
Right. So you
dial
do
it in.
believe that. You're not just saying
No.
magic, you believe it.
Yes.
And we believe it about you because we often joke that you're the queen manifester. Like when you say you're going to get a lake house, you're in a lake house within 6 months.
Right.
Whereas
That's why
most
she's
people
Shelly Sparkle.
exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so it would. I don't think if Mandra were to try to put magic throughout her thing, magic references, it
would be silly. We would laugh.
You would be like,
yes.
you would laugh
like,
at me.
Yes.
No.
Or mermaid wings. Or mermaid tail.
Right.
Yeah,
no.
that wouldn't, but doesn't belong in your stuff.
There's a fairy tale there, but it's a realistic fairy tale.
Well, that's my voice.
Absolutely.
Voice is
It's
a
a
little more-
realistic fairy tale.
Yes.
But it's
More
beautiful.
prescription
It's
pad.
Yes, more prescription pad.
No prescription. It's beautiful. What you read is beautiful.
Thank you. Well, thank you all for listening. And be sure to check out the Writer's Block NH Facebook page and the Writer's Block podcast on your favorite podcast catcher. If you'd like to hear this again, you can head on over to the United Network.
UnitedPodcastNetwork.tv.
Thanks, Jonathan. That's the United Podcast Network.tv. Thank you for listening, and we hope to inspire and empower you to tell your own story.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Café, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.